All right, so we just went over how to print the masses from Revit. Now I'm going to go over how to print the masses from Rhino. So I'm actually just going to come in here and delete this mass for right now. Again, it's still here if we want to get it back, but I'm going to come in and go to Rhino and show you kind of what I would suggest you do. Basically, what you want to do in Rhino is two different pieces and with two different layers. And then you're going to pick one of the pieces and make sure whatever piece you're working on that you're decide you're going to bring over to Revit is at 0, 0, right? You can see this guy's at 0, 0. This is going a little down, but that's okay. It's kind of part of its form. But make sure it's centered X, Y, and Z and pick the object and go to File, Export Selected, and just pick DWG, right? And give it a name. So I'm going to name this guy, that's this outside one, so I'll name it Part 1. And under the options for the export, make sure you pick 2007 solids and then click Save, right? And click OK. And then pick your second part and export it. So export them as separate pieces. So export selected. And I'm going to go in and this will be part 2. Make sure the options say 2007 solids and save that. And I'm going to replace mine. You guys may not. And so you've got your two pieces ready. And then what you want to do is go back to your Revit, get rid of the mask that's there. You can delete it. You can always get it back. And then go to your site plan and go to Architecture, Component, Model in Place. And I want you to pick Mass. We have to trick Revit into thinking this is a mass because it's an import of a DWG. So just do that. And you can leave it Mass 1. And then I want you to go to Insert and you can go to Import CAD and go grab Part 1, right? And you can leave all of this set to the same, the origin to origin, where it's coming, and just click OK. And it should bring that part in. And then I want you to finish this mass, right? And then I want you to come in and do the process over again. Go to the Architecture Component Model in Place, scroll down to Mass, right? Click OK. This is Mass 2. Go to Insert, Import CAD, and pick your second piece. And click Open, and it should pop right in and just finish your mass. Okay. Now I'll go to my 3D view, and you can kind of see, you know, you can kind of see it brings those guys in. Now, if you want to change the color or the material of something that you've brought in here, you can do that. If you don't, you can actually just go to the forms page and print it. This thing, again, is about 70 by 70 by 70, so it's fitting. Otherwise, you're going to have to resize it. If I go back to my 3D view, right, I can actually, just to get a better view of it so I can spin around and not worry about changing the view. If you want to change the material or the color of these guys once you get them in, just go to your Manage tab and go to Object Styles and go to Imported Objects. And you'll see your layers here, right? And so if I come in and I want to change this layer Part 1, I can click on this render material. And you can see it's got this blue color, you know, set to it. But if I want to change it, make sure that it says use render appearance here for shading and go to your appearance tab. And there's a little replace this asset. So click on replace this asset. And you can come in and you can either use the physical assets or the appearance library. And I'll just go down to, how about metallic paint? And I'll get flake satin, dark blue. And you can click this little replaces the current asset and it'll update that to like a blue, right? Or maybe we get something a little different because we already have blue. So I'll get the green, right? So you can see the difference. And then if I hit apply, you'll see that green update, right? And if I wanted to do the same thing for this one, I could come in here and let's replace this asset. And maybe I want that to be, like what? Stucco. Okay, so I'll just do, how about salmon. Do Venetian rough plaster. Okay. And going to the graphics tab and making sure you use render appearance is checked. And then click OK and click OK. Now the one weird thing too is that you see how the lines are still kind of red and blue. You can also go to your object styles again. So if I go back to my object styles and go to imported objects, there's the line color. So you can change the line color here to black, right? So I change that to black and that to black. Or you could change them to the same color as the, right, like that. Or if you go to realistic, it should give you a little bit of the texture of the Venetian. But anyway, that is what you can do. Once you get it in here, all you need to do is go to your forms and print it, right? So we went over the printing before, so Control P, right? And then current window setup should be portrait, zoom 100%, offset from corner. Make sure that hide unreferenced view tags, work planes, scope boxes, and crop boundaries are checked. You can preview it if you want to. It'll show you, right? And then you can go back to print. If you wanted to change where it was, so if I was unhappy that it was not centered, I could double click on this view, go to my navigation wheel and pan it up, right? It will not zoom because it's scaled. It's an orthogonal view. So if you want to make it bigger or smaller, you have to change the scale of it here. So if you wanted it smaller, you can do that and then move the view. Or if you wanted it bigger, you could scale it up larger and then move the view. But if you do this, it's actually a little too big, right? Almost barely fit. Ooh, little tiny baby edge. If you do this, then you're going to need to make this guy smaller, so it's smaller than the paper. So you would just double click on the view, pick the view thing and pull it in, and that's going to be mighty tight right there, right? Or else it's going to sort of want to affect the way that it prints, right? And then you can print it. So Control P, just like we were talking about before.